Patricia Heaton is a three-time Emmy Award-winning actress and producer, and is most well known for her role in the award-winning show Everybody Loves Raymond, and my favorite, The Middle. She has been married for 32 years to actor-director David Hunt, with whom she shares 4 sons. She's an ambassador for the Christian relief organization World Vision and the founder of O7C, of the October 7 Coalition. Patricia recently authored her highly acclaimed book, Your Second Act, Inspiring Stories of Transformation. We are so blessed that she's here with us, helping to stand boldly with the Jewish community, most recently standing vocally as a headline speaker this past weekend at the Columbia University at the Hostage Family Forum-sponsored rally in New York City. Please welcome actress, a supporter of Israel, and a dear friend to the Jewish communities around the world, Patricia Heaton.
To be invited to be your keynote speaker, it truly is. Especially in this deeply troubling time, and especially as a Catholic. We don't have the greatest history, Catholics and Jews, so I'm glad to be here and try to rectify a little bit of it. Anyway, listen, I was reading about your organization, and this particular sentence stood out to me. The elimination of perceptual divides between Israeli Americans and the larger Jewish community demands a spark, the ignition of the realization that we are stronger together, and only the foundation of our past will ensure our future. Friends, I think now more than ever, we have to apply that sentence also to the relationships between Jews and Christians. Now, let me just give you a little background on myself. As I said, I'm a Catholic, very Catholic. My mother was one of 15 children, and all 15 got married and had between 5 and 10 kids. So I have about 100 first cousins on my mom's side. I once picked up a hitchhiker in Cleveland, and we got to talking. This is in the 70s, you could pick up hitchhikers then. And he said, yeah, my uncle's a sports writer for the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And I said, oh, my dad's a sports writer for the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And we looked at each other and we kind of went, hey, cuz. Anyway, my husband jokes that he's British, and he jokes I had to marry someone out of the country to make sure I wasn't marrying a relative. And you know, we were Kennedy Catholics, Democrats, boycotted grapes to support the migrant farm workers, and participated in exchange dinners with black families during the civil rights movement. And although my dad was really nervous about money all the time, a newspaperman's salary, putting 5 kids through Catholic school, every month I saw him sit at the dining room table and write checks to different charities. And he was always trying to help people he found that were in need. And that social conscience in our family, I feel, has always been part of the Jewish tradition. It's what you are known for, by thinking people. Anyway. Now, people have asked me if I have a Jewish connection, and to all this tradition, and not really, it's pretty tenuous. There was only one Jewish family in our little suburb of Bay Village, west side of Cleveland, Debbie, and Debbie was a friend of mine, and we also worked together at the faculty club at Ohio State, the Ohio State University. I did play Seidel in a production of Fiddler on the Roof at St. Edward's Catholic Boys School. Pretty good production, actually. And then after Ohio State, at Ohio State, freshman year, across the hall from me in the dorms, I met my friend Robin from New York. She was the only 18-year-old that I knew that had a fur coat. She got it at a bat mitzvah. She was on an allowance of $250 a month. I was wearing a hairnet and working in the cafeteria. She was my queen. We became great, great friends. I adored her. We connected on so many levels. And still my friend today. In fact, when I did Sorority Rush, like at first I went to the Pi-Fi house, and it was all like blonde girls with pearls and white dresses, and they had little, bowls of chocolate and peanut butter Buckeyes on the table, Buckeyes, OHIO. And then I went to Robin's sorority, SDT, and it was like 50% of the girls were from New York. They were all wearing black and they had boxes of cigarettes on the table. And I was like, I have found my tribe. I did not get in. Robin told me there was one girl in the sorority that was jealous of me. Can you blame her? But that's okay, it all worked out. Then after Ohio State, I moved to New York. I struggled there for 9 years. Lots of Jewish friends in New York, and then moved to LA for 32 years in the entertainment industry. Lots of Jewish friends. Dear, dear, dear Jewish friends. So many. And so that is a big connection for me. It's just in relationship. And that's what we need to have between Christians and Jews, is that relationship. It's going to be so important in the coming years. One event really struck me the first year I was in Los Angeles. I was in a gym on a treadmill. There was an elderly woman next to me, also on a treadmill. And I looked over and I saw that she had numbers tattooed on her wrist. And it's the first time I had ever encountered that. And it hit me like a punch in the gut. And it made everything that I had ever learned so real and so present. And we're seeing that again today. And then during Raymond, we were fortunate enough the cast was invited to meet Steven Spielberg. He had just begun the Shoah Foundation. We got a tour of that. And again, seeing that up close in that way just solidified how important it was to support the Jews and Israel. And so when October 7th happened, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was astonished at just the brutal and gleeful savagery. If you've seen Sheryl Sandberg's her new documentary, it's just shocking. And I was outraged. And then seeing the campuses just explode with anti-Semitism, fully formed, posters printed already. And I looked around and I thought, I'm not seeing the kind of outrage I thought I would see from churches and communities. I'm not sure what I expected, but I expected something. And so I started texting Jewish friends and asking how they were. And they were devastated. I was so overwhelmed by their response. And so I created a post on Instagram. And I did a video and I said, did you ever have that thought that if you were a German during World War II, you hoped you would have been that good German that hid your neighbor? Well, today you have that opportunity to be a good German. Call or text your Jewish friends, ask them how they are doing. And I listed a whole bunch of also organizations to donate to. You know, I don't really cry because I'm Irish and we drink. And I quit drinking 6 years ago, and now all I do is cry. It's coming up. So I talked to my friend Elizabeth here, Elizabeth Doros, who is a Christian married to a Jewish man, and they're raising their children Christian and Jewish. And I said, how are you doing? And she told me I'm the first person in Nashville that asked her how she was doing. And we talked about it, and we know that our friends and neighbors in Nashville are good people, and we wondered why there wasn't more being said. And since she was like an event organizer for Condé Nast in New York for many years, she just got on the ball and started making things happen. And the first thing we did was email a bunch of pastors in Nashville and invited them to a luncheon where we had a program that was her husband talking about the anti-Semitic experiences he had, a clip of a movie we put together about all the anti-Semitic acts that were happening around the country. We had an Israeli Christian, a Palestinian Christian, we had myself speak, and we talked to the pastors about what could we do to help people, to help Christians be, as we say at O7C, be more visible and vocal in our support of the Jewish people, of the State of Israel's right to exist, and against anti-Semitism. And we called it O7C, the October 7th Coalition, and that's who I'm representing here today. After that, we wanted to reach out to the Jewish community in a respectful way, and so we wrote a letter that was an apology for the historic wrongs that the Christians had perpetrated against the Jewish people. And it was signed by close to 150 Christian leaders and influencers in Nashville. And we sent it to all those synagogues, all the rabbis, Federation, all the Jewish people, to let them know that we were here for them and that they were not alone. Something simple like that really cracked Nashville open for us. And we ended up having personal outreach to all the rabbis, coffees and lunches and just get-togethers. We were approached by the Israeli consulate in Atlanta, and we showed the only screening of the Hamas body cam footage in Nashville. It was attended by 120 Christian leaders, because we really need people to see what we were talking about and why it was so important to speak up about it. We hosted a breakfast for Ambassador Michael Herzog at a country club in Nashville, also invited Christian leaders to come. And then we culminated a lot of this in a unity dinner entitled You Are Not Alone. Every rabbi and other Jewish leaders attended. The first time Jewish and Christian leaders had been together in Nashville, about 250 people came. And then 2 weeks ago, I attended a prayer rally at Columbia University last Thursday night, or maybe it was last week, and then had the privilege of speaking to support the hostages and keep them front of mind. So that is what we at O7C have been trying to do, and we continue to reach out, and hopefully, as Jeremy Jacob has been doing work here now like this for almost 5 years now in your community, so he's been at it for a long time. The reason we are here, we appreciate him, and we appreciate his thoughtfulness and his advice to us. It has really been shocking and horrifying to hear the hatred and the anti-Jewish sentiments being just robotically spouted by both students and professors. And you know, for a moment, I was thinking, is this our fault? Like, were we asleep at the wheel? And I thought about it more, and I thought, part of the problem is we're normal people. We live our lives. We go to our jobs. We enjoy our families. We engage in our communities. We help the less fortunate. And we forget that there are other people out there who are psychopaths. They spend their lives 24/7 trying to figure out ways to kill Jews, to bring down Western civilization, to destroy everything we know and love. There are people out there that's what they live for. And we kind of can't imagine it. So it's not really our fault that we thought, well, things are kind of settled and it'll be okay. It's never going to be okay with people like that in the world. And you know, also as Americans, I mean, for the most part, we're very friendly. We don't want to cause any offense. And on this subject, we've been pressured by social media never to say anything about this evil ideology because we don't want to be accused of being Islamophobic. But the fact is, it is evil to throw gay people off of buildings. It's evil to marry off 12-year-old girls to old men. It's evil to sing "Kill the Jews" as a nursery rhyme. It's evil to use children as human shields. It's evil to use billions of dollars in aid to build terror tunnels and then to kidnap baby brothers like Ariel and Kafir Bibas and continue to hold them for hundreds of days. If calling out that evil is Islamophobic, then I guess that's what I am. And the thing we have to work on is our own bubbles that we found ourselves in. We have let our political differences keep us apart. News outlets and social medias depend on clicks for revenue, and they know that anger gets people to click. So they put out tested clickbait so we can all stay in our corners and scream at each other about Biden and Trump. And I think that just has to end. It just has to end. Liberals and conservatives must come together over this. We can fight about all the other things later. Today, and for a long time, we have to come together. We have to be in relationship with each other, and we have to show the world that we are united for humanity, for decency, for Judeo-Christian values, for Western democracy, and for freedom. I wouldn't be a good Christian if I didn't leave you with one New Testament verse. This is what St. Paul wrote in his letter to the Ephesians. Put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. Friends, it's time to stand together in friendship and in faith. God bless you, and thank you so much for the privilege of speaking.